And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills.
I can't catch a break, guys.
Yeah.
Get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys.
People think, oh well, cleaning your room, that's just a cliche. It's like, yeah, really, eh? Just go ahead and try it.
If people had any idea how powerful sleep is for healing from anything, and the fact that it's free.
My mind is absolutely bulletproof, solid as a rock.
Podcast. Hi guys, welcome to the Fighting Fit podcast. I am joined today by Brandon and Chris. The topic of today's podcast is going to be on habits, particularly centered around the book The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. This is a book Brandon read and really enjoyed. I read it myself. Chris, you're pretty aware of the concepts, but you haven't actually read the book. So we're going to have a little discussion around it today to really try and help everybody stick to their New Year resolutions, essentially. Yeah. So January comes around, everybody wants to make some big changes, develop some new habits, maybe get rid of some old habits. So today we're going to talk about some strategies and tactics and tips and tricks on how you can maintain your good habits long term. So before we get stuck in, Brandon, what is your general feeling of the book and of habits in general?
Well, it's been a brave while since I read the book. I think it was like over a year ago now. But the principles of the book really stuck with me. The Power of Habit is essentially all about how the brain operates in order to save energy or save cognitive processing. So basically, what it will do is it works on a basic principle of cue, routine, reward, and at the most base survival, it would be food or sex. All right, and basically, what you would do is the cue would be the physical craving or something along the lines of that. So if you're hungry, basically what it would be I'm hungry. Walk around the place, find a bush that has the fruit that I want, and then you eat the fruit and you get the reward. And then basically what your brain would do is it would go, okay, my cue is I'm hungry, I took the path to get the fruit, I ate the fruit, and I'm going to save that, and I'm going to keep going back to that tree again and again. I'm going to run that path again and again, and that's basically how habits formed. So
to
it's
the
like,
point where you don't have to think about it.
To the point where it's automatic, so you end up waking up in the morning and go, I'm hungry, and in place of having to literally, walk through, have we look around, you automatically know and find out where the reward is, and that's basically at a very, very basic level what a habit is, and that can be done with absolutely everything.
Yeah, I think that's very important. The fact that over time that habits become subconscious and that you don't even think about it. And that's why they can be so powerful. That's why they can be so powerful when you adopt good habits, but they can be quite difficult to change bad habits because it's all happening subconsciously and you might not even notice it.
Well, and that's the other thing as well. I don't think that any habit necessarily is bad. It's like it depends on what else it's getting in the way of. So for example, it's like if you want to smoke a cigarette for talk's sake, it's like there's a good positive reason as to why you want to smoke the cigarette, because that's what the reward is. Either it's the nicotine high that you get, which
stress relief.
This is it. It's like there's a reason that you do it, but it's like if that's at the detriment of everything else, then it starts going bad, because what your brain does, like the reward is the most important thing. It's like you're getting a reward from it, so there's something good about it. So whether or not it's food, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's going for a run, you're getting something positive out of it, and it's like, and then what is it at the cost of that you are literally forced to keep repeating this action, even though consciously you don't want to do it. And like that's where the problem of a habit begins. Something so much ingrained subconsciously that even consciously you can't overcome it, and that's the problem.
Just on that, just with in relation to the cigarettes, I just remember hearing a very interesting theory before about the cigarettes. It's like, obviously, people get addicted to nicotine quite easily. It's quite a very, very addictive substance. But on that, it's like people look to cigarettes as a stress reliever. And the theory goes, it's like it's not necessarily the cigarette that calms you down. It's the fact that that's one of the only times during the day that you take deep breaths. And it's like if you were to replace the cigarette with just deep breaths in general, you could almost mimic that kind of stress relieving effect. And that's kind of we'll talk about in a little minute. It's like the cue, routine, reward. You just got to mix up that middle bit, that routine, that will get you a similar reward.
What do you think about the idea that it's not even the reward that's the actual reward? That like your dopamine spikes with the anticipation of it rather than the actual reward?
There's something about that in the book. That's very, very good. Yeah,
it's like the anticipation that gets it. So it's like, you don't, when you get it, like you notice that when you get food, you get a takeaway. Can't wait for this Domino's when I go home, or this Chinese. Oh, it's going to be lovely. And you get it. It's like it's nice, but it's your anticipation is just way better than actually enjoying it.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing with most things in life, and that can be one of the kind of most underwhelming things, especially if you achieve maybe a major goal that you've been working towards. I think that's why people really say, really focus on enjoying the journey. Because when you get to the top of the mountain, all you want to do is look for a bigger mountain, or you're moving on to the next goal or dream or ambition, whatever it is. So I think that is very interesting. You really got to learn to enjoy the journey, because the dopamine release is in the anticipation of it.
But you can use that as a hack, but you get the benefit. Like the reward is actually not the reward; it's the anticipation.
I'm not sure if that's the case, because that also could be the cue. Because basically what it is like that anticipation dopamine spike, that's brain activity, and basically when you get that cue, well then what happens is like that's the expectation, and then if you don't fill that, cue the drop off, and there becomes that's where the negative side of a habit comes into. So it's like, if you want a cigarette, here we go, cigarette. No, you're not getting a cigarette. Oh, woeful, because you didn't high the high, let's say. So it's like, if you get that cue, it's like, here's my expectation. Oh, thank God, there's my cigarette. And it might even be a level off. It might be, bring it up and we'll level off now, my thing, and then it will slowly but surely come down as the reward, stimulus, like let's say, like you get the nicotine buzz or whatever, and as that lasts, you'll evenly, drop off. But if you don't get it, it's like, well then you're just going to drop straight back down, and that's why people can end up quite frustrated with habits. So you normally go home and you normally have a chocolate biscuit after work, or you normally have a snack or X, Y, or Z, and then you don't get that. It's like you're going to be very, very annoyed, and that's kind of where people sit down, and you kind of feel a little bit lost when you're trying to change a habit, because if you've got this empty space, and it's almost like it's very, very weird, because it's like this lull of expectation. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, well, what else am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's why it's a really good point when people say it's not about eliminating habits, it's about replacing them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta replace that, say the biscuit, you gotta replace that with a piece of fruit or something else that's going to elicit it.
Coffee,
yeah. It could be any number of things that gives you that same. Usually it's kind of, we're chasing dopamine and serotonin, really, isn't it? Kind of looking to get that release in the brain.
But I think it was a really good point that you said. It feels like you're lost. I mean, that's a really, really good description of it. Because when you're there, you're like, it's like, what now? Do you get me? You're like, there's something should be happening. You're just like, you feel like you're not where you should be.
It's one of the reasons why people always say it's like they should be going to the gym, and then on rest day, or like, it's like, what do you want to be doing on rest day? Going to the gym.
Yeah.
That's what, and it's like that really is the case. It's like, because it's your habit, and it's like, well, what do I do now? And the great thing is, like, if you're busy and you generally do have an awful lot of things going on, it's like, well then you will have something to do. But it's like, if and that's kind of, I think that it's a double-edged sword. It's like, if you've nothing to do, it's like, whatever small high you get that day, let it be a cigarette. Or even like, if you don't like your current situation, it's like, and you've got that reprieve of a cigarette, or if you've got that reprieve of your food, or you've got that reprieve of going for a workout, but outside of that you really don't have a whole pile going on, it's like, well then you're not going to have any other high to ride. So for example, if you've got a girlfriend and normally go to the gym, and then on your day off you go to the cinema, it's like, you're not really going to miss the gym too much. But if you're sitting at home and you're sitting watching the same show for the 16th day in a row, you don't really feel good about yourself. It's like, of course you're going to want to go to the gym, or of course you're going to want a cigarette or a Chinese or whatever.
And that's what they say, like, people kind of almost get addicted to the gym, because like people forget, like, there's a very, very powerful endorphin release after workout.
Yeah, that's why, like, most of the people that come here are like, oh, why do you come here? It's like, off my head. Yeah, it's really good for my head. It's like just.
It's another, but it's like, even for me, I always notice it literally always happens. Like, I obviously do my little graduate journal. It's like, what would make today great, and it's like, a workout is literally nearly always a part of it. It's like, if I do a workout, I just feel like, on some level, I've done something productive that day, and that makes me feel good.
And I think that's where you really want to get the that's where you really want to get the habits that, as I said, it's like
that line up with your ideal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's like a bad habit essentially is like where you do it in detriment of something else, and then a good habit is something whereby it lines up with everything else. So it's like, if you go to the gym, it's like, it's very hard, unless you're injured, unless like you're literally self-sabotaging, because like, you should be going to the gym, as I said, but you're addicted and you can't stop. Like, I heard a story about a runner before, and like he's literally like tight everywhere. He's got plantar fasciitis, and he just not that he won't stop running. He said himself, I can't.
Yeah.
It's like that's kind of where I like with addiction. It's like, when do you go too far? It's like, well, take a break. It's like, well, why should I take a break? It's like, just to see if you can.
Yeah, just a test.
You know what I mean? It's like, because if you can't, it's like, well, then it's like you've got a really strong habit, and then because that's kind of where I like would think it's more of a discipline than anything else. You know, like discipline is a muscle, and that's kind of the thing that you want to grow. And I think that for me, it's like any time that I develop a habit and I can't go without it, it's like I really feel bad about myself, and it's like the thing that becomes a detriment is my self-esteem. It's like, well, now I need something, and I'm not self-sufficient, and that annoys me. You know, so it's like if I have to have sugar every day, it's like that bugs me. You know, because it's like
it has a bit of balls.
Yeah, it's not even the fact that it's like I could be a perfectly ideal body fat. It could be off season, but it's like, could you do without it? I'm in a rut right now or I can't. It's like, that annoys me.
Yeah, that kind of dependence on something to kind of make you feel good or make you feel normal.
Yeah.
So just so we can make this podcast as maybe as actionable as possible for our clients and the people listening, it's what do you guys feel like from your interactions talking to clients day to day? Like, what are the kind of the worst habits that people have, or maybe what are the main habits that maybe hold people back? Do you think? And then it kind of shoots in mind. Obviously, eating's going to be a major one.
The weekend, the can't wait for the weekend.
The Friday mentality.
Yeah, that's it. It's like Friday. It's like I worked hard all weekend. I deserve it. I mean, I think that's like the worst habit that you can get. Like, just waiting for the weekend. Not even just for food and stuff like that. Just for life in general. It's like, you're sacrificing the main part of your week. It's like, that's a sacrifice, and the way you frame your life like that is just
so just to kind of bring that back into the kind of the structure that we have here. It's like, the cue, routine, reward. So the cue is Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
The
work.
routine is
and the vibe and all that jazz.
Cue is Friday. Whoop whoop. Here goes the weekend, and then it's like
Prep
the routine
drinks.
is drinking, and then the reward is you feel like you've got some sense of accomplishment after a hard week of work.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but again, it's like, what's it at the detriment of? It's like, because my thing is like with the Friday, it's like I deserve. I have a hard week. This is what I deserve. It's like, okay, well, what do you deserve, and when do you deserve it? Because it's like, if what you deserve is a good time and to feel good, it's like, yeah, you're just right. It's like, if you work hard, you certainly deserve that. Unless all week you've been doing that anyway. It's like, well, then the question is, do you really deserve it? Because you haven't really earned it, and that's what deserving it is. You made a sacrifice, and now it's a time where you get to have the thing that you've sacrificed.
But at the same time, I feel like it's a very slippery slope to get into. This whole the Friday mentality. It's like, because we forget, like, the weekend is like such a tiny fraction. What is it of our life? So it's like, if you're constantly like waiting for the weekend, it's like, what about the other 5 days of the week?
Oh, that's another side.
It's like, would it be better to maybe try and structure your life in a way that
Gary Vee always says,
but a large part of it is just like the way you look at it. It's like, how do you look at it? It's like, you tell yourself this constant story that you hate your job and all, but it's because you're looking for the negative aspects of it rather than looking for the positive aspects.
Well, yeah, it's like perspective's a wonderful thing. Like, if you work in McDonald's, let's say, I'm not picking on McDonald's workers.
I used to work at McDonald's.
This is it. Yeah, so it's not picking on McDonald's worker, but it's like it's a dead end job for most people because they don't really want a career out of it. If you do want it, like I said, it's like you see the opportunity there and you go for it. But it's like, okay, it's like, I could be at home, I could be making so much more money. It's like, you also could be homeless. Because like, if you like change your perspective, like, that's literally every time that I want to strive forward to something, I change my perspective to something better. Which is like, athletes who are doing better than me, people who are working harder than me. It's like, okay, well, there's the gap. You have to bridge that gap. And it's like, but it's like, anytime that I kind of feel not grateful, I just look back and it's like, right, okay, well, where am I not? Where could I be?
Yeah, but I always think it's very important in that regard. It's like, if you're not happy where you are right now, I think it's really important that you have a vision for something beyond that.
Yeah.
That you're going somewhere. As Tony Robbins says, growth equals happiness. If you're not growing, this is where we get our sense of confidence, sense of happiness from. It's like when we're working out because we're getting fitter, faster, stronger, we're moving in a certain direction. And when we feel like our life is stagnated or we feel stuck, I feel that's when people feel the most depressed. So as long as we kind of feel like we're moving in a certain direction, it just kind of keeps us motivated. And that's or it's like momentum, like the ball is rolling in the same direction. And it's like, then you can view that 9-to-5 job as a stepping stone onto something greater. And
that's where it is, because like, if you are looking at McDonald's as this is never going anywhere for me, it's like, it's probably because you don't have a greater plan past it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, you just expect the better job. Or to make a defense, it's kind of like, it's like, or you know, you're just anticipating this thing that is coming, and it is a while away, and that can be a little bit frustrating. But it's like, if you just know that it's coming and you're willing to put into work, like, I mean, that's what it's all about. It's like discipline. It's like, if you show up every day and do your job and work hard at it, it's like, you know, you're not supposed to feel good all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes you're supposed to work, and that's where you get the big reward from. That's what it's all about. And that,
for me personally, like, there's really not more frustrating when you find someone who just hate their job. It's so frustrating. I really hate to see people like come home from work and they're just all down and done. Oh, I fucking hate that place, blah. You know, it's like look for the positives. Like, you can really still build your skill set in any job. You know, because you're going to get, like, you know, interactions with your boss, with your colleagues, with your clients, with everything.
A cool sort of way to look at that is that, like, if you let's say, for example, in McDonald's, like, you could be the worst McDonald's employee ever, or you could be the best.
Exactly.
And it's like, what makes people happy usually is like making other people happy. So, like, you have a chance to have multiple interactions with loads of people every day. It's like, you can take it upon yourself, take responsibility for those reactions, and make sure that those people have a good time. Fair enough, they might not always do it, but your intent is still there, and the fact that your intent is there and you're making other people have positive interactions all day, like, that will make your job better.
Yeah, because you notice it so much. Like, it's like, even like, say we were up in, where was it? I think it was in Five Guys in Dublin there last week, and the server was just an absolute legend.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He was so
and
good.
You remember that,
and they really stuck out. You know, he's like just really, you know, really friendly, really enthusiastic, and like you really notice it, and it really helps. And it's like, and I would say, like, if I was opening a business, I would literally poach him. I'd be like, listen, you're getting a tenner there, we'll give you 12 quid to come over. But it's like, people forget, like, how important it is to build your skills. Like, people have this mentality of, like, they will do nothing for free. You know what I mean? Oh, why would I do that? Sure, we're not getting paid for it. You know what I mean? But it's like, people forget, like, you're building your skills, and that's really the important thing. You're building your skills, you're getting more experience, you're building your network, you're having more relationships, more people are seeing you, you know, and acting like a, you know, like a good human being, you know, or a positive person within your community, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's like, just because you're not getting paid for it, or maybe you're not getting paid as much as you feel like you deserve, it's like, it doesn't mean that there's other benefits that you could be focusing on,
which are probably worth more than actual money.
Exactly. And as we talked about in the last podcast, in the 7 Habits, like, you know, it's deferred income. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't matter. The skills you learn today, you might not be getting minimum wage now, but, you know, if you really stick at it and you develop and cultivate that positive attitude, down the line, you know, you'll be a much more valuable person.
I think that pulls right back into habits, you know, because what it is like, is your habit going into work, and, you know, your reward is almost for yourself. Just in that kind of context, your reward is almost for yourself. It's like, well, I know that I'm better than this place. You know what I mean? It's like, whereas, like, okay, well, then why are you here? You know what I mean? It's like, how are you supposed to justify that to yourself? It's like, because I'm waiting on something better. It's like, no. I'll tell you, I'll think what I think is a better attitude. It's like, if you're building your skills, and it's like, and you're there and you're showing up with integrity, you know what I mean? Well, then what it means is, like, you build your skills, you build discipline, and it's like I said, there is an arena for you to build on yourself. And just in relationship to all our clients, it's like, in place of showing up to the gym with that same mindset, which is like, oh, I hate this place, I hate my body, I hate my life. It's like,
I hate working out, I hate dieting, I hate, you know.
Yeah, it's like I love dieting. You know what I mean? I love tracking my food and making me feel so like the weaker version of myself. I beat that bitch every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
People need to be more aware of how powerful the words you use are.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, at the risk of sounding kind of woo-woo. Like, it's like, reality is subjective. Like, anything that is subjective, it's like, you can make it better just by how you communicate it to yourself.
One thing that I notice for myself is, like, the assumption of how much I know versus how much I actually act in that way. It's like, so for example, it's like, you show up to the gym and you're like, oh, well, obviously, like, I know I should have a good mindset. It's like, I know that. It's like, well, why don't you do it? Yeah. You know, it's like, oh, because I know you know it, and I do know that it's like, it's literally inherent, and it goes without saying, but it's like, say it anyway and do it anyway. You know, it's like, you should be showing up with a positive attitude, because that's what builds the habit. You know what I mean? It's like, and if your reward, like, generally, like, one of the biggest things for me is, like, if I can get out of a workout and just say to myself, like, at the end of the workout, you know, I'm so glad that I did that, and I'm so glad that I beat myself before coming here in relation to getting here. It's like, you feel so much better yourself, and that becomes a reward in itself. You know what I mean? As opposed to the reward being sitting on the couch. Yeah. Oh, I get to rest. There's my reward. You know what I mean? No. Your reward gets to be that even though you were tired, you went and did it. It's like, that's a better reward. I bet you that trumps it.
And that's how you build self-confidence.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like keeping the promises you made to yourself is literally the best way to build your self-confidence, because it's the confidence you have in yourself. It's like, if you cannot trust yourself to follow through on your word, you will not have confidence within yourself.
Depending on your words, because your word could be like, oh, well, I'm not bothered. You know what I mean? So it's on top of that, it's to make big promises to yourself. You know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, right, well, I'll go. You know,
I wouldn't necessarily say big promises, but I think like
relative.
Yeah.
You know, relative, because like I said, if you're sitting on the couch right now, you've never
going for
exercised.
a walk could be a big deal.
That's a big deal. Whereas like if you know you shouldn't just be going for a walk. Yeah. You should be going for a walk and a workout and tracking your food and keeping it all together. For you to just go, all right, I'll just go for a walk. It's like you haven't kept to your own thing, and like vice versa. If you have never done anything, it's like go for a walk. Fair play to you. You know, it's like it doesn't matter on the scale. It's like, but you know where you are on the scale. You get to pick the scale, and the beautiful thing about it is like when you pick the scale honestly, it's like you feel so good about yourself when you rise to the top, and you know when you've set the bar too low. Yeah. And sometimes if you need to set the bar super low just to get through another day, that's what meant to. Yeah, that's fine.
That's what making your bed is. Stop. Just make your bed.
That's so true.
And so one of the reasons why, and if you can develop that kind of discipline with, you know, tracking your food, which is we always kind of talk about, like the 80-20 principle. It's like if you're going to do a 20% thing that's going to get you 80% of the results and is easy, because I know for 95% of people I know, it's like they sit in their phone anyway. It's like, are you telling me that it's too much effort to go an app across? It's literally 9 or 10 finger swipes away.
Why do you think people don't do it?
But it's because it's like if you do that, it's like it's a bigger. You know you're not going to follow through with it, so it's a bigger commitment. Like if you do it once and you know you should be doing it every day, it's like if you do it once, you know you should be tied in. And if you do it and then don't do it again, you've let yourself down. And people just don't want that let themselves.
I think for a lot of people it's too honest. It's kind of it kind of breaks down the false stories that they've told themselves. You know, it's like,
exactly. And
that's why I love about our program. I love obviously, you know, our kind of tie in is, you know, we leverage science and technology to bring you twice results in half the time. You know, because we use science and technology, like we literally track all the numbers. You know how many calories you burn every workout. You know, you're using things like MyFitnessPal. You know how many calories you're supposed to be eating. So it's like, you know, it's like, oh, so when they come in, it's like, oh yeah, I was eating healthy, and it's like, all right, show me MyFitnessPal. Oh, I didn't track my food. It's like, I mean, well then you didn't do it. You didn't do what you're supposed to do.
But the thing about that is, I was actually
and then that whole thing, it just pulls off the security blanket, and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean, then you're exposed. You know, because it's like if you track, numbers don't lie, people do.
Yeah, but this is my thing about it, is like you can have habits that are so well ingrained, like poor eating, that it's not even conscious. Like, and this is the thing. It's like I've had people come into me numerous times, and with the most sincere, genuine thing, like I've literally had to break their heart, because it is a case of like they're going, well, you know what, I've done everything this week, and I can tell when they're saying it that they fully believe it. The problem is I don't believe it, because I know the numbers, unfortunately. And when I first started this job, I really did believe them, because I didn't realise how much you could cod yourself. You know what I mean? Because I was probably still doing it in other areas, but it is a case. It's like if you deceive yourself because you're not looking, like I said, it's like habits are unconscious, and if you don't pay attention to how many biscuits you eat, like the common story is, oh, I had nothing to eat all day, and they had, you know, 3 or 4 terrible snacks. You know, it's like, well, yeah, if you didn't pay attention to them and didn't log them as, like, you just didn't register them, it's like, well, then it's going to seem in your conscious thought that you didn't do it, and that's what MyFitnessPal comes in. If you start logging it and it comes in your conscious thought, it's very hard to say, oh, I had nothing to eat all day. It's like, oh, jeez, I actually had this and I had this, and for more than often than not, it's eye-opening for people.
And that's literally my favourite thing about MyFitnessPal. It's like it encourages mindful eating. It's like they said, I just love that expression where like it pulls off the security blanket. You know, it alleviates ignorance. It's like you can no longer claim ignorance, because now you know that when you eat that food, you know that cookie is 400 calories.
It's like being red pilled.
This is it. You just know. It's like you can no longer claim, oh sure, it couldn't be that bad. It's only a cookie. You know, it's like, no, it's a 400 bloody calorie cookie. You know what I mean? Your macros are 1600 a day or 2000 a day or whatever. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, and how easily is that done? You know what I mean? We get it. It's like it's not.
It's easy. You know, it's easy to overeat. Food's hyper palatable.
It's very simple. Very simple in theory, but like obviously it's difficult to do. But it's like the key is having the strength of character to be genuinely critical of yourself. But to do it in a way that you're not beating yourself down.
That's very important.
You know, it's like I look at it. It's like now like when I make a mistake, you know, I can sit back and look at it. I'm like, oh, fuck, you know, I made a mistake. You know, but I don't like dwell on and beat myself up about it. But at the same time, I know that I could do slightly better. You know what I mean? And that's all that's important. The fact that you know you can do a little bit better, and you're not playing the, oh, I thought it. And you know, it's not you're full sure you've done your best.
Yeah, but I like. Do you ever feel like sometimes they're trying to convince you that they were doing the best, but they're convincing you so they can convince themselves? You know,
no, I literally think it's just one step back. I think they're just trying to convince themselves.
Yeah.
And then they have, and in most cases they have convinced themselves. It's like, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. It was like in order for you to do that, it's like you have to justify it. That's why it's so important to watch your language. Because if you say something and do something, it's like you have to justify that. Because your speech, like literally, it's it's so funny that people think that they're separate. It's like every time you talk, it wires your brain. It's like in order for you to speak, your brain has to fire. So if you keep going, oh, now I have a six pack. It's like enjoy that because that's in there now. You register that. That's why Inception's such a big thing. If you see it, it's in there. Like if you say it, it's there. And it's like, and the more you say it, and it's like the second thing is like if you do it once, it's like people smoke one time with the intention of never smoking, and that's them forever. You know, it's like that happens. And then for other people, it's like they have other pathways ingrained so hard that they could smoke or go off diet one time and it doesn't register. You know, it's like that's fine.
Yeah, because you can pull back. It's slightly off topic, but it kind of links into the language thing. It's like the whole identity. It's like there's literally nothing more important than the identity or the definition you have of yourself. You know, if you look at yourself as an athlete, you know what I mean, you will act like an athlete. If that's who you are. It's like if growing up you were the Joker, you will be the Joker. You know, if growing up you were the fat kid, you will always be the fat kid. If growing up you were the confident, outgoing one, you will always be the confident, outgoing one. If you're the shy,
by other people as well, though.
Yeah, a lot of times, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's why we kind of even more starting on Monday our mastermind group. You know, to really kind of really help each other, kind of all level up together. You know, because you really are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's so true.
But here's a cool habit that people could get into if they see someone do something positive like that they know is like in line with their goals. Like if you give them a bit of encouragement and give them a phrase that helps them identify with it. Do you know, it's like, oh my god, you're so fit now. Do you know what I mean? That's so cool that you got really into this. You're doing really well. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And they'll identify with that, and that will resonate.
Because one of the things that we try and do as coaches is, give people from How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's like give somebody a reputation to live up to.
That's exactly what I mean.
And it's even I know we always talk about Andrew Manny because he's just just a goal smasher. But and it's like now he has that reputation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everybody expects that of him.
And do you know what it is?
We expect it of him, but now he expects it of himself. You know what I'm saying? And that's all that matters.
It's like generally, it's like he you don't know why he does it, and he probably does it for loads of different reasons. But the low carb thing is like he generally is like, and even now, like I'm not sure like how much is true because again it's like it's a case whereby you can convince yourself of these things and believe it. It's like, but generally he had a cupcake, he generally had half of it, and you don't know how much. When he had half of it, that he goes, I would love to be the type of person, because I know that that's what people think I am, that generally couldn't even eat half of it, and therefore is convinced, this is too sweet for me. I prefer my carbs. And because there's so much backing that up, like what other people think of you and how that makes you feel about yourself can just be so much overwhelming that in comparison, a little bit of carbs pales. Yeah. You know what I mean? And for him, it's like, that's what it's all about. It's all about, like, and when other people, like, people want to say, I don't care what other people think, and that's glorified, but it's like, you do. It's like we're social human.
You might not care what people you don't like think, but you care what your friends and family think.
Perfect.
100%.
Yeah. And it is a case.
And if you don't, like, or they're probably not your friend, or your friends and family.
Though. If you don't, like, again, if you don't consider what other people think or feel about it, it's like you can identify with the lone wolf mentality.
Up to a point.
Yeah, it's like be you, but at the same time, like, if like your brothers are going on, be like, come on, man, you need to pick it up.
Because I feel that's one thing that we do very well with each other. Yeah. It's like, if you're acting like a dickhead, like, we'll tell you you're being a dickhead.
It's for zero politeness.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
But it's important. And it's, as we said, some of the kind of conversations that we've had that have kind of helped us kind of move the needle kind of towards the life that we want to be living have been tough conversations. There's a good quote. It's like, the quality of your life will be determined by the amount of difficult conversation you're willing to have. Because it's easy to have a little chit chat. It's easy to, like, it's like they've that whole one, like somebody's bad breath or a bad body odor. You know what I mean? It's like, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person that kind of lets them go off to school or college or wherever, like, stinking, or do you want to be the general friends that, hey, Brandon, you know what I mean? Maybe you should put a little more toothbrush on that.
Like, it's okay, I've done it sometimes myself. It's fine.
That's another, let people save face.
That's a big thing. Like, I used to not let people do that for some reason. I don't know if it was my ego or something like that. I was like, I'd have to let them acknowledge that they were caught out.
Yeah, but you have to almost force them to admit that they're wrong. Whereas if you let them see it without having to admit to it, it's much more useful. Because we're all full of ego and stuff like that.
That's just the thing. I think you think that'll be helpful. You know what I mean? I think that you think it's necessary to change if you go, it's like, do you understand we're wrong? Like, do you understand that? I need you, because I care so much about your problem, that I need you to understand where you went wrong. Whereas, it's very powerful if you kind of go, it's like, do you know what it is? I hate it when people do that. And it's like, but you can tell that you got a little bit of pull with them, or not even, it's like, here, did you ever see the way some people do X or Y? And it's like, and they're like, oh. I hate that.
Yeah.
And then they go off and change it for themselves.
Exactly.
Like, I didn't actually, you know what it is, I didn't realise that a significant figure to me, and I actually, you know what it is, I know that I let myself down sometimes, it's like, but I would hold them in high regard, and I would like to push to be more like them. It's like, if that's what they think, it's like, do you know what it is, realistic, if I check my my morals and my standards, like I actually probably line up there somewhere as well.
And I feel that's why I feel like it's really important to hang around people like that, people that kind of expect more from you. You know, but it's not that they demand too much. It's more so like they know what you're capable of.
Potential.
You know, they expect you and they want you to live up to your full potential. Because that whole thing, where it's like, you know, if you're an 80 degreer, like this is an example. I think it was Ed Milet uses. Some guys started listening on YouTube. If you're an 80 degreer, you know what I mean, and things start to heat up too much, you know what I mean, you find a way to reduce the temperature back down to 80 degrees. But on the same note, you know, if your life cools down to say 70 degrees, you know what I mean, you find a way to heat it back up. So that it comes back to that whole identity thing. What do you identify with?
That's
you know,
cool,
if you're like, you know, if you're kind of like, you know, if your kind of mindset is, you know, I'm a little bit chubby, you know what I mean, it's like if you start to like, you know, get fat, you know what I mean, you'll pull it right back to chubby. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, then if you start to get ripped, you know, like you don't then you find a way to drift back to chubby. You know what I mean? It's all about really changing the identity, how you see yourself.
It's a growth mindset, and that's one of the reasons why I think that when some people change and they change big and they see the change, you go, I wasn't that fixed thing. Like I thought I was chubby. Yeah. It's like, but actually no, I'm a thing that can move between ripped and chubby. And realistically, I would prefer to be ripped or, you know, in shape or at best healthy. You know what I mean? It's like, and when they realise their thing that's on a spectrum and really believe it, because there is a thing, it's like you can say that you believe it. It's like, oh yeah, no, I know, yeah, no, I'm capable of great things. You know what I mean? It's like, but realistically, you're like, and the reason I think is that is because you know you won't do the things that need to be done in order to do the fixed thing, and you're so tied in to your habits that it's like that you can't change.
And a lot of it is you don't have the confidence to do it because you've let yourself down so many times in the past. You've broke so many promises to yourself that the confidence you have to rapidly transform your body it's too great of a challenge based on your level of self-confidence.
Why did you let yourself down? Habits.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I really feel like, because at most parts, like, people have an ideal, and this is what they do, is like they set the ideal first, go for it, the habits pull them back, and then they sell.
They set the goal too great. You know, as we said before on another podcast, like, you know, we got these students, you know, expecting A results. You know, but it's like, you can't cook. You know, and your habits are crap. You know, you haven't worked. You've worked out twice in the last year. You know, you haven't done all these things, but you expect to go from A to B. You know, and like,
well, that's just realistic expectation. But the thing is, like, it really is the habits. You know what I mean? It's like, because realistically, if you could nail your habits, like a drastic transformation is fully capable. Like, for example, I have clients here who over the course of a year have gained weight, and they have 2 stone to lose, let's say, for talk's sake, and then they're perfectly healthy, maybe even a little bit ripped. You know what I mean? But you take, case in point, Andrew Maddy, 9 stone in a year. It's like, because he destroyed his habits. You know, it's like once he let go of everything that was holding him back, it's like the impossible becomes very possible. You know what I mean? So it's like, your realistic expectations are like, we define them based off, it's like, well, realistically, on average, people will change their habits 30%, to put a number on it, you know, and with that, your gradient is like that, you know. But it's like, if you switch off your habits, like, boom, it's like you could get serious amounts of place in, like people are so incredible at a base, I think, you know. It's like they really do have this genuine belief in themselves. If it's nurtured, you know, it's like if you're cultured from an early age, to if your parents did you any service, they built you some self-esteem and said, look, if anything else, I don't care who you are now, look, chances are you're a toddler, you're impulsive, you're reactive, but realistically you don't have to be this way. Most parents told them you could be anything you want to be, which is true given the right stimulus.
And I think the best thing the parent can do for people is, like, you know, like, let them fail. Like, you know, like, push them outside their comfort zones. You know, don't wrap your arms around them too tight.
Well, it's because, and why do you do that? It's because, actually, do you know what it is? Where you're not's not enough.
Well, you have to fail.
But why? It's because it highlights the point where you're not enough.
Yeah.
But it's like, but if you don't change, and this is, if you don't believe that you can change, it's like, well, then you get repeatedly told you're not enough. Like, the biggest thing that I see from people nowadays, it doesn't matter what the area is that they don't believe in change. Like, flexibility. It's like, I have some people that, like, come in here and, like, I can't touch my toes. It's like, you've never bothered to stick with a stretching program for any longer than like a week.
But I get the same thing. I can't run.
I can't
run. Or I hate running. Or it's like how
Unless it's a broken leg, like.
Yeah, but it's like
David Goggins ran with 2 broken legs.
Yeah, but it's like have you ran? You know what I mean? Like how consistently have you ran over the last period of time? It's like, listen, running's very, very difficult, and it's even more difficult if you're carrying, you know, an extra 2-3 stone. You know, so let's start making it a little bit easier on yourself. You know what I mean? And instead of trying to run a 10k or a half marathon, it's like run a kilometer. You know what I mean? It's like once you I love that quote. It's like all you have to do to be a runner is to run. You're in any amount of distance. You know, run a 500 meter, run 1,000 meters.
Because people hate failure.
Run 100 meters.
People hate.
Yeah. And I can remember it was Paddy Maguire. It was like one of his I think in his testimonial, it was like, you know, when I first joined, I couldn't run 100 meters. You know, and then we had him running, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5k in his first 12 weeks. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, but it is the case. People hate failure. They will avoid failure because failure is the thing that makes them grow, and they don't grow. Yeah. And then when you don't grow, it's like, and you continue to not grow, you'll avoid anything that causes you to fail.
So you just don't try. Yeah.
So that brings us back to what habits are. Habits are the process that you have to, of things you have to develop and ingrain in order to change. It's like if you genuinely, right, let's say for talk's sake, you're sitting here or you're sitting there and you're listening to this and you've tried to run, you've tried to stretch, or you've tried to lose weight. It's like if you want to do any of those things, you are, and if you've tried already, you will notice that you will immediately pull back. It's like you tried it and you maybe made it through the first or second attempt via motivation, you know, external stimulus, someone got you pumped, maybe even got yourself pumped by kind of seeing something, inspiration or desperation, one of them two. And then what happened, you notice, was after a very quick period, you got pulled back in your old ways. And as soon as that happened, you give up. But it's like, you need 2 things in order to build a habit. One, you need a goal, you need to know where you're going, and you need discipline, not motivation. Motivation carries you through to the point where you need discipline, and that's the tipping point there. Is like if you don't push through that point and keep going back, it's like there is a point whereby everybody will quit or everybody will push, and that's all individual based on where their habit is. And it's like if you're not willing to give up that habit and make the sacrifice, you will never get it. And that sacrifice seems so hard. Like I said, it's momentum, and so it's like if you push that the boulder, the big massive boulder, it's like such an effort to get it going. Even
so, what is it called? Overcoming inertia.
There you go. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's like, and as soon as you get the ball going and it starts rolling, it's like there's a flow to it, and
it actually does get easier. Like, it gets easier.
And the sickening part is about it, and I've been there. It's like as soon as you stop rolling that ball,
you got to overcome inertia again. You got to get it moving again, which is so much harder than to kind of just keep it rolling.
But the ability to know you've overcome inertia, because the difference is like there's a great kind of idea that I think they used to do with elephants in India, and basically what they did was, if you take an elephant when it's a baby and you pin it down with rope to a stake, and that elephant is too small to pull the stake out of the ground, by the time it gets big enough to pull that same stake out of the ground with little to no effort, it doesn't even try.
Yeah.
So
it's conditioned.
It's conditioned to think I can't move the boulder. And most people are conditioned to think that whatever boulder is in front of them is like, I'm the thing that can't move it.
And that's why, like, one of our biggest tips for people in terms of kind of keeping momentum going, you know, beyond January and through the rest of 2019 is, you know, if you miss a day, you know what I mean, that's fine. Sometimes life gets in the way, but never miss 2 days in a row. Like, you need to have that as like a rule on yourself. If you miss a day, that's fine. Shit happens. Life gets in the way, but never, ever miss 2 days in a row. Because otherwise, then because how exactly it needs to be your number one priority the next day. Because how often has 2 days turned into 3, then 4, then a week, then a month? You know, all of a sudden it's 6 months you haven't been to the gym. But if you just never miss 2 days in a row, you know, so you can miss a day, it's fine.
I think the thing,
but don't miss 2 days.
The thing behind that is a mindset. So it's like, even if I don't care if you miss a week. It's like, because realistically, if you miss 2 days and then you miss a week, it's like you're pretty much up against the same thing. But it, like, your vision will change. Your belief in yourself to overcome that inertia will get bigger, because as that as the ball slows down, it gets harder and harder to push it. So it's like, yeah, okay, it's like if you don't want it to be insurmountable, it's like don't miss 2 days. But if you miss a week, it's like don't ever stop. Don't compromise your goals because of failure.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? It's like if you miss a week, it's like fine. It's like, what happened? It's like, okay, you know, it's I got lazy. That's pretty bad, because that means before you stopped, you gave up, and so it means that preemptive to stopping, you stopped. You know what I mean? And that's why you stop. But the thing is, like, if you decide, you know, like, my cat died, my mum, you know, was in hospital, XYZ, I genuinely couldn't make it, and that's like perfect. As long as your goal didn't change, like as long as you still have, you know, I'm willing to do this regardless. You know, it's like if I fail, it's fine. You know,
but at some level, it's that whole thing. It's like life is hard. It's like, and it's never going to be convenient. You know, and everybody's waiting. You know, how many people have told us, you know, I'll start in January. You know what I mean? But it's like because there's so many commitments around Christmas. And
that's fair.
There's always going to be those commitments.
There's always going to be commitments. It's always going to be somebody's birthday. There's always going to be a wedding. There's always going to be, you know, extra work. There's always something. You know, it's just about you just got to learn to adapt, and you just got to learn to roll with the punches.
But if you're a novice, is the time to start in an area of high commitment? Maybe because compared to that, conveniency is going to seem super easy, and you've dived in the deep end.
Yeah. But for me, my advice around Christmas time is like, you know, it's about damage mitigation. It's like if you're working at 4 or 5 times a week, and you're burning an extra, what I've said, 2,000-3,000 calories, whatever it is. It's like that will make a difference in terms of kind of, because you know how often people come back after Christmas and gain, you know, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds. You know what I mean? So it's like if you had been working out around the same time, maybe you're only able to gain 2 or 3 pounds.
Exactly. But it's like, oh, it's Christmas. I'll just stop.
Yeah, and again, listen,
I'm going to be eating bad anyway.
Yeah, it's all about. It's like do you? It's like do you? But you know what I mean?
Understand the consequences.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the annoying part about that is when you understand the consequences, when you do the bad things, it's like then you get the negative emotion. It's not fun doing that. Yeah,
100%. Right. So just to kind of bring it back into to the 3 keys, because it's important that people really understand this concept, because I want to wrap this up soon enough. So number 1, the cue, the routine, and the reward. So just to kind of delve into the cue here a little bit, I've got a couple of notes. So what is the cue? So when you feel the urge for your habit, ask yourself, all right? So this is how you identify the different cues, all right? What time is it? Where are you? Who else is around? What did you just do? What emotion are you feeling? One of these things is the cue. Look for which one stays the same every time you feel the urge.
Can we just make each one, let's go through them again and make each one personalised. So read one again, for example.
So for example, so what time is it?
So you just finished work.
Yeah. What do you do? So the cue is, I just finished work, what do I do? I'm outside working, I'm smoking a cigarette.
Perfect. Or it's lunchtime.
Yeah, exactly.
It's around the time I normally take my cigarette break. Perfect. What's the next one?
Here comes a cigarette. You know what I mean? So it's like, where are you?
We're going to the pub. You know, it's like, guys, or going out with your friends. It's like if you think that you're going to be able to go out to Ridley's for talk's sake.
Yeah, well, I think that relates into the next one. Who else is around?
Well, yes, and that's why one of the big things that you see with people is like, it's like if you are hanging around with people who normally do the thing that you used to do, it's like chances of you doing that is like, I'm not saying are definite, but it's like for you to be set into the routine,
it's a lot of willpower.
It's almost autonomous. So unless you're super conscious, it's like, and then you've got the good discipline.
But if a lot of people look at your social circle, it's like, you know, there's some people that literally, like, your relationship revolves around, it's either, you know, cake and buns, you know, teen buns, you know, teen biscuits, or it's alcohol, or, you know, it's food or alcohol in most places. It's like the only time I see you is when we're eating or drinking. You get what I'm saying? And if them behaviours aren't empowering you to move in the direction that you want to be doing, it's like, to maybe look at that relationship and say, like, listen, instead of going for crumpets and tea, you know, do you want to go for a walk? You know what I mean? We can walk and talk, or do you want to go for a hike, or do something?
If they're super resistant, you have to stop seeing them.
You got to drop them.
You got to bring them along. Like that's why one of the reasons the couple who trains together stays together. You know, it's like,
because how often have we heard? You know what I mean? Oh, I'm still here trying to stick my diet, but usually the husband, you know, because they're he's ordering it. He's literally coming home with a Chinese. You know, and not only that, but they're actively tempting the other half as well. And because perhaps the other half, you know, sorting their diet and sorting their fitness out, you know, maybe probably, you know, but it makes them feel a bit insecure. You know, it's like, Jesus, if she's getting her shit together, you know, maybe I should get my shit together. No, don't you get shit together? Here, have this.
The brighter a light you cast, the darker a shadow that is made.
Yeah.
And it's basically Kira Holmes to be for one example. She was doing really well with us, and her husband Colin was kind of, you know, not here and not participating. And as soon as he started joining, the two of them are rocking upward, and he's doing super now. You know what I mean? It's like
just riding the upward spiral.
So your positive influence, our our advice isn't to cut everybody off, but like it's like you
so have a look at analyze your race, and is this in a relationship empowering for me?
Yeah.
You know, is this moving me in the direction that I want to be going?
And in some and in some cases, like you owe whatever relationship it is for you to empower them.
Because not only that, but it's even more. It's like because if not, you will literally resent that person.
Yeah.
You will in time you will resent that person. You will identify them as the person that held you back, and there's literally nothing worse you can do for your friends for your friendship. If you just have to say, listen, you know, I'm not meeting you, we're not knocking out this weekend. You know, that ability to say no has much less of an impact than in 20 years. You know, when you feel like your chance is gone, you'll never get in good shape again. You know, when you look back, Jesus, you always pulled me to the night clubs. You know, I didn't really want to be going, but I really wanted to keep you happy. You know what I mean? It's like that's resentment. That's like will literally destroy your relationships. It's like have the courage to say no. It's like if it's not moving you where you want to go,
the quality of your life is determined by the difficult conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
yeah.
right. Yeah.
But also the quality of your relationships. You know, and who you're hanging around with. Really, that's why literally we really want to get this mastermind group up and going. You know, and really get talking to people about their goals. And it's like, listen, health and fitness is a key part. Because my own journey, kind of weight loss journey, is like that's the first step. The first step is sorting your body out. You know, get your body out, increase your confidence that way. But then after that, it's like it's all mindset. You know, you really got to have your mind set up and structured in a way, and adopt empowering beliefs that that move you in a direction. And it's that whole thing. It's like truth. It doesn't matter if it's necessarily true. It doesn't have to be true as long as it empowers you. You get what I'm saying? You can have a belief, people have, I'm class or I'm an athlete. It's like maybe you're not, maybe somebody else you're in the industry might not necessarily define you as an athlete, so it might not be true in that sense. But it's like if you feel like an athlete, it's like that's enough. That gets you to the gym and that makes you feel good about yourself. Adopt as many empowering beliefs as you can possibly adopt. All right. So that's the cue. So the cue could also be called the trigger. So the cue is the trigger. It's like what triggers the behavior. Where are you? Who are you around? What are you doing? What's happening?
Step one. Identify the trigger.
And then we're talking about the routine. Alright, so the routine, what is the routine? So now that you have identified the cue, alright, what is the routine? Alright, so choose an activity that is triggered by the old cue and delivers the old reward. So studies show that the easiest way to implement a new habit is to write a plan. This is interesting. So when blank, alright, so I'll get you guys to maybe fill in these blanks. Alright, so I'll read it first. When blank, I will blank because it provides me with blank. Alright, so it's when blank, that's where we insert the cue. I will blank, that's where we insert the routine because it provides me with blank, that's where you put in the word. So when, let's say I finish work. Alright, so when I finish work, I will
go home and have a sit down and watch some telly.
Because it provides me with
feeling of pleasure because I get to relax.
Boom. But so this is what it says. So it's like really just identify the 3 stages and just trying to just adjust that routine. So it's not about eliminating habits, it's about replacing bad habits or disempowering habits with more empowering habits. So I would say so when I finish work, I will go for a walk because it provides me with an endorphin release.
But it's the same thing. So it's like, what are you looking for? And it's like I really do feel like people are we're just pleasure monkeys. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter what it is. It's like you're seeking pleasure, and it doesn't matter what way that you're trying to seek it. But it's like if it's a cigarette, if it's alcohol, if it's a good relationship, if it's good food, if it's name your vice, it's pleasure. And for me, like that genuine was a sincere story of mine. It's like it was go home, sit down, watch TV, relax. The one I've replaced it with now is that it's go home, get changed, jog in, do my workout, and then go home. And I get the same pleasure, except it's self-satisfaction and knowing that I discipline myself. It's like the pleasure is the same. You know what I mean? It's like you really need to like the room for how much you can change the routine and get the same reward is like it just takes a little bit of thought and effort. You know what I mean?
Being conscious, because a lot of people live just unconsciously, just living out the habits, living them out. And like so the reason that they're habits is like you do them unconsciously, and the whole purpose of trying to figure out these habits is so you can program yourself to do the things unconsciously.
Yeah, this is what people call your brain. Yeah, exactly. The brain hack yourself.
It's like you can like if you are conscious enough, you can think of the way you want to act and then come up with a plan, try and implement it into what you're doing already, like your actual routine, and start developing it and like allow yourself to do it badly. Like have your target like the best thing you can do. If you get it 10% right, it's like
it's an improvement.
It's an improvement. It's like
progress.
But it's like 10% right isn't failure.
Yeah, nothing frustrates you more like if somebody comes in like they've lost You know, they say, or even no, that's it. If somebody comes in, right? Say like even now at the start of the year, it's like they came from this place. They literally, you know, they've never kept an exercise program. They've never kept a diet. They come in here right after week 1. They're after doing 5 workouts. Their diet wasn't that good, and maybe didn't really make any progress on the scale. And they come up and they're so sad and they're so disappointed in themselves. But it's like, look for the positive. It's like, you worked out 5 times this week. Well done. It's like you're moving in the right direction. But it's like these bloody, you know, quick fix rapid weight loss programs. They will have program people that if you're not losing 3, 4, 5, 6 pounds a week, you're a failure. You know, and it's really, really frustrating because it's not only does it kind of develop that negative mindset, and that same mindset I used to have for boxing. You know, because I used to be trying to lose. For me, I used to judge a good training session because I'd weigh myself before I worked out and I weigh myself after I worked out. And if I didn't lose, you know, at least a kilo or something after workout, I think it was a crappy workout. You get what I'm saying? It's like getting out of that mindset.
But it's not even that. It's like, unfortunately, it's the opposite. So exactly what we're talking about is hacking your brain. Is like that these rapid weight loss programs have jumped aboard a habit, which is instant gratification.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like when you get on that, it's like you're just feeding the thing you're trying to avoid, but with something healthy. And it's like that is so poisonous, because then what exercise becomes just like everything else. It's a punishment. It's something you don't feel good about. And the whole idea of trying to develop a healthy, active lifestyle is that you see things in a healthy, positive way. I don't understand how change your lifestyle, negative result, negative emotions everywhere in between, for, you know, one feel good factor is, it's like no. It's like you should be getting, as I said, we're pleasure monkeys. You should be getting hits every way along the way. And as I said, like, a positive hit you can get, guys, if you go home and try it, is have a shower. Put yourself in the mind of someone who's in Africa, has to trudge through 6 miles just to get a drink of water. It's like your shower is going to seem pretty tasty now. It's like if you can change your perspective with 18 things in your day, do 5 things in your day. If you're
that's why I feel like the gratitude journal, like is literally a game changer for me. Because honestly, it's huge. And the thing is, like, I don't do it every day. You know, I don't do it every day. I do maybe, you know, 3, 4, maybe 5 days a week if it's a good week.
Tell me this though: how often in your day do you feel bad and make yourself grateful just by changing your opinion?
All the time.
That's what the gratitude journal is.
It programs you to look for the positive in the situation. You know, and I just think, for me, that's like, I'm convinced now, it's like, this is the best time ever to be alive. You know, and I've convinced myself that. I might not, maybe it's not true, I don't know. You know,
absolutely is.
Yeah, probably is. But it's like, you know, a lot of people might disagree with you on that. You get what I'm saying?
I'll debate them on it.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying? But it's like, as I said, I don't know, it's like adopt empowering beliefs. That to me is an empowerment. It's like, this is the best time ever to be alive. So it's like, who am I to fucking sit at home and mope and complain and cry? It's like, no, get out there, do something, have an impact. You know, it's like literally you could travel to the other side of the world in a couple of hours. You know, and it's like that would have taken somebody like a year on a boat. You know, not even that long ago. Like, you know, 100 years ago. Like, you know what I mean? Literally 6 months, a year on a boat. You know, but now we can do it in a day or 2 days. It's like it's immense.
Or they would complain about
and then
having to wait in the airport.
Yeah, exactly. You know what?
I literally, so funny. I was in an airport and we were going on holidays and we were delayed by 20 minutes and I was livid.
Yeah.
Like I was literally like, I was standing there. I was like, I have to wait 20 minutes before I zoom across the sky like the sun god Apollo. You know, it's like soaring through the clouds. And like the problem with that is like, if like it's a perspective thing. It's like I have to wait 20 minutes to be blown through hyperspace, literally just to like cut a 3-week journey into like a couple hours. It's like, how ungrateful am I? It's like I'm the most ungrateful side, and I'm pretty grateful. I practice gratitude all the time, but it's like everything comes from your perspective, and we are like it's very easy to only see through things through your perspective, and just like everything else, it's a skill, you develop it. And it's like, but and the thing is, like, it depends on your the way you look at it. Again, it's like I could punish myself for feeling like a piece of shit for going, oh, I can't believe I felt like that. I can't believe I didn't appreciate this plane ride.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, or you just go, oh, well, fair play to me for being able to switch.
It's just identify that behaviour that didn't empower me. It's like, cool, it happened. It's like, fine, but I'm not going to dwell on it. It's like, but I know the next time. Now I really like what an amazing experience this is.
Yeah, and maybe next time you'll forget.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's still have to wait, and then you might remember it just after the flight and be like, oh, I'm going to be grateful for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
FYI, I think a comedian came up with that Sun God Apollo reference.
Yeah.
I can't take
Honesty.
credit. I feel horrible. I check
Brandon
myself.
joke thief.
I'm the thing that steals jokes, but I give them credit after.
All right, so
when we talk about the cue, we talk about the training. Now it's the reward. So the reward is, what craving do you think your habit is satisfying? So test that theory. So here it goes. Substitute another reward, i.e. instead of eating a cookie, have a cup of coffee. Is the craving gone? Yes, it's like that's what you're really craving, or no, it's like substitute the opposite reward, i.e. instead of eating a cookie, take a walk. Is the craving gone? And then if the answer is no, it's like keep experimenting until you find something new that satisfies the urge. So it's like that whole thing. It's like you maybe not get it the first time. You get it, and the same thing with my fitness pal and stuff. It's like, you're not going to get it perfectly the first time, but it's like,
which is absolutely fine.
Yeah, but it's a process. You know what I'm saying? Everyone
thinks they're great. Everyone thinks they're perfect.
You know what? Everybody allows perfection to hold them back. If it's not perfect, if it's not the perfect plan, if it's not the most efficient workout, if it's not the absolute best diet plan, I'm not even going to bother. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like 80% is good enough. It's like 70%. It's like if you're 50%, 60% is better. 61%.
I'll take a slow trudge in the right direction. Then like every day for a year. Then I take 5 massive leaps and bounds for 2 weeks. Yeah, I would take the slow trudge every day because that person has the right fixed long term. Like, and generally it's like that the tortoise and the hare. Which one wins? You know, slow and steady really does win the race. It's like if you are going to be so annoyed that you can't sprint it, you know what I mean, and you're going to not even try. It's like, you know what, that rabbit can run all day. It's like eventually he's going to run out of steam. It's like, not me. It's like, I just take it at my pace. I take it at my leisure. You know what I mean? And some people are incredible. Some people are literally marathon sprinters. Like, some people can run a marathon faster than I can run a 5k, faster than I can run 100 meters. Some people literally, I'm going to hold that pace all day. Fair play to you. It's like, that's a perspective issue again. It's like you're gonna not bother because someone else can do better. Well, how's that working for you? The big massive question is just like, if you have a habit and you want to check yourself to see if it's empowering, just ask yourself the question: how's it working for you? How's your mindset currently working for you? If you're getting the results you want, you don't need to change a thing. You know what I mean? It's like, but if it's not working for you, it's like something needs to change, and your chances are that your mindset and perspective has a big massive role to play part of that.
And I'm just going to bring it back. I think I mentioned this in the previous podcast, but it's like transformation, because obviously we're having fitness coaches. It's like it really is all about building the skills. And I know I say this a lot, but it really is so important. It's like, it goes back to the millionaire mindset. You know, and it's like, if you get $1 million, you better become a millionaire quickly. Like, what is a millionaire? A millionaire isn't somebody who just has $1 million. A millionaire is somebody with that millionaire mindset. And why is that important? It's because you see these lotto winners, these people who win the lottery all the time. You know what I mean? Chris wins the lotto. In a couple of weeks, you blow the money. You get what I'm saying? Because you haven't built the skills to manage money. It's like that's what's important.
That's what ET says. He goes, it's like, oh, ET is like, it's like, give me some money. It's like, why would I give you some money? You don't only spend it. Yeah. You know, it's like I'm going to give it to Sir Thomas. The hip hop preacher. You know, and it's like, I'm going to give it to somebody who's going to invest it, who's going to do something with the money, not to somebody who's going to blow it. It's like you're going to spend spend it pretending that you're something you're not.
Yeah.
And I've noticed myself doing that all the time. It's like, once I get money, it's like, now I'm going to do all the things I said I'd do once I get the money. You know what I mean? It's like for example, once I lose the weight, I'm going to eat all the things that I know fit people can afford to eat. And I'm going to do that right until I'm back where I started.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like, it's a catch-22. It's like, right, okay, you can get to where you want to get, but if you don't build the skill and develop the mindset of maintenance, that's the sickening thing about it. It's the only reason that these people are where they are is because they practice moderation and discipline.
100%. That's the key again. Just to bring back to the fitness, like, if you get that healthy fit body, if you kind of, if you shortcut your way to success, if you've done the rapid weight loss 6-week program or whatever it is, you know what I mean, and you didn't have the skills, you were just following this, chicken and broccoli all day every day, you know what I mean, you didn't develop the cooking skills, you didn't develop the habits, you didn't develop the mindset required to maintain that body when you get it, so you will lose it. It's like, but you see,
why is that not sustainable?
Why is that not sustainable? Because of something called metabolic adaptation. You know what I'm saying? If you, a lot of what these programs do is, they've got kind of, these housewives, you know what I mean, training like bodybuilders, or training for like 6, 7, 8 hours a week, which isn't sustainable for them. So the key is, if you literally can't do it long term, there's no point in doing it, because your body will adapt to the new regimen. Now your body gets used, because your body's your best friend. You know, it's so good, it's so adaptable. And when you get used to exercising 7, 8 hours a week, and you get used to eating 1,200 calories, the body's like sugar. I'm burning 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day. You know what I mean? I'm only eating 1,200-1,500 because you see these diet plans and that's all they are. You know, literally most of the time it's 1,000 or 1,200 calories, something ridiculous. You know what I mean? And then the body grinds everything. The body gets, I wouldn't say grinds, it's like the better word is like the body just gets super efficient at using energy. So then the body's like, right, give me 1,200 calories, I'll do my best with 1,200 calories, and it grinds everything down, slows everything down.
Really good way to check that is your body temperature. If you find that you're cold, you're cold a lot, you're probably under eating.
100%, yeah.
Freezing cold. Because your body will shut off certain things. And if you overeat, okay, but let's say it's like you don't spike or anything like that too much, like meat. You overeat on
the meat sweats.
You get the meat sweats. all that energy. It's like a lot of it might not necessarily be stored as fat. If insulin is not elevated and stuff like that, it's like
the body will just burn it off. It increases it.
Yeah,
because again, if you have done that, and if you have went through all these, you know, these crazy kind of excessive kind of overtraining, under eating kind of style programs, it's like one of the only ways to get out of that is to reverse diet. It's like, right, your body's used to 1,200 calories. It's like, you know what I mean, for most people, you know, I remember I put my breakfast up to date, I think it was like 700 calories. You know, there's like, you know, if I had to eat 1,200 calories, I'd be buggered. You know what I mean? But the only way to do it is then, and again, it's a slow, arduous process. Like you got to go from 1,200 to 1,250 for a week, and then you might be able to go up to 13. Then you go 1350. You know, and then you slowly but surely build it back up.
Just to be honest, I think that is a very just sorry for anybody that believes that this might be you, but it's like I think that is a very rare case. This is what I think. I think it's a very rare case. Someone who will commit to a 1,200 calorie diet or 1,100 calorie diet. And let's say they should be somewhere up at the 1,500-1,600 calorie range, and they're losing lots of weight, and it's great. But it's like if you can commit to that, and you can also commit to 5-6 hours of training, and then not only that, it's like you're committed to that long term. I don't think you're going to have any issues. I think that if you're the type of person who would do that, and then, you know, radically reduce your exercise and radically reduce how much time you're paying attention to is what you're eating, and you know you're not eating healthy, like generally healthy. It's like, are you telling me that you can't eat? Your body can adapt to a seriously like high vitamin mineral diet and exercise and be eating well, and you know, obviously look, you might cut back your training a little bit. It's like, but the real problem is like you fell back into your old habits.
No, but at the same time, it really does come down to, you know, time is the number one reason people drop out of exercise programs.
But that's what I'm saying.
You know
exactly.
That's what I'm saying. It's like these kind of things are, it's like fair enough. There's a small amount of population again to people who's like gym is life. You get what I'm saying? But it's like, if gym isn't life,
it's like if you cut your calories way back and you kept your exercise up, and it's like, and then after a while you slowly started to increase your calories but kept up your exercise. So you're not going to.
But nobody does that. It's like people finish the program.
But that's my point.
The 1,200 calories and they go from 1,200 calories right back up to 3,000.
My point is, I would hate to put somebody in a metabolically broken box. It's like your problem is that the routine changed. Like the program was unsustainable. It's like, it's not that your body is, you know, hyped. You know, you didn't destroy your body. It's like the problem is like there was a program. It works when you stick to that program, and it's like, and you pulled back to a completely different lifestyle.
I think the problem is you've made your body super efficient at using energy. And now,
you're both right.
But I think for most people listening to this, I think in general it's a habit thing. Generally it's like, I think that if your body will super adapt one way, I think it will super adapt back. And I think your metabolism will probably bounce back pretty rapidly, you know, given, you know, a regular lifestyle. But it's like if you generally like have chronically dieted,
a lot of people have yo-yo diet.
But I mean chronically. You're talking like for like 2-3 years.
I had a consultation there last week with a lady that just went like months on just like food replacements with shakes. Desperately trying to lose the weight.
But how accurate is that? Is it because again it's the mindful things? Like, did she do that for a week or two or 5 days out of the week, and then on the other days, you know, because that process, because that is a quick fix and that's unsustainable, had to resort to her old habits for sheer survival, for sheer satiety, and for sheer peace of mind.
Yeah,
because I really do think that if somebody really did that for a long time, they would see results. Like a big thing that I always say is like,
oh no, that's what I'm saying. But it's that whole thing. It's like, don't do what's expedient, do what is meaningful. It's like listen, nobody doubts. Like, you know, nobody's disputing the fact that if you train 5-6 hours a week and eat 1,200 calories, listen, you're going to have an absolutely fantastic transformation. Listen, nobody disputes that. Yeah. But the thing is it good for you long term? And it's like nobody's taking the long term mindset about it. It's everyone's just like, short term, I'll do it this once. I've got holidays in 6 weeks. You know what I mean? It's like,
that does damage.
It does do damage.
Yeah, damage to which your body.
No, but it's like there was an excellent study done that follow the guys on The Biggest Loser.
Yeah, I'm with you, but it's like they were eating shit after it. You know, it's not like, oh, I stuck to my carrots. Do you know what it is? I went from a 1200 calorie diet to a 1900 calorie diet. I kept all the goods whole, I kept all the goods clean, and my body didn't adapt. Yeah. Bullshit.
Yeah.
You started eating donuts again.
That's good. That's a good point.
You started eating chips and
sugar. But not necessarily, because again, it all comes down to energy balance. It doesn't matter. You know, in theory, it doesn't matter if the calories are coming from from good foods or bad foods. To some degree, it's debatable. But you get what I'm saying. The fact is that the program given to you, it's like, yes, if you can stick to 1200 calories for the rest of your life, but we all know about. But not only that, but it's like we all know about basal metabolic rate. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My basal metabolic rate is about 1700 calories. You get what I'm saying? If I eat 1200 calories, I am going to slow my metabolism down.
Oh yeah, no, of course.
You get what I'm saying?
But my point is, like, if the metabolism can
and not only that, it's like based on my height, my weight, my muscles. Again, that's what my organs need to function.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But this is what I'm saying. If you draw it back and your metabolism fixes to 1200, and then like if you stick to that diet, it's like if you go back to a 1900 calorie diet of donuts, your metabolism will speed right up. I promise you. But you
experience excessive gain weight on.
Of course. But the problem is, like, it's not as if, like, once you draw yourself back, your metabolism is now in this small box, and it's an extremely tedious process to get yourself back up. Actually, it's like if you just stop eating crap and eat high calorie foods, like you will, because they are high calorie, good quality food. It's like your metabolism will speed back up in no time.
It will. It's a slow, arduous process.
I think that if you're doing a good exercise program, and I think if you're eating plenty of good clean foods, I think that the kind of weight that you're going to be gaining is not going to be body fat.
I'm saying it's 1200 calories. If you jump up to 1900 calories, that's 700 calories a day. 7 sevens is 49. That's 4,900 calories your body, excess per day. That means you will gain about 1.25 pounds of fat in excess every single week. I would assume for at least 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks.
Exactly, and then the metabolism fixes, and then if you stick to it, as I said, if we're the tortoise mentality, but it's like if you're going, well, I'm after gaining immediate weight. It's like, of course you are. It's like your body was starving. Now we're after replenishing your bodies, after building a reserve. It's like it's perfect. It's like, so realistically, if you gain up that little bit of weight, it's like perfect. Good. Now we're after fixing yourself. You're after giving your body a reserve that it clearly needed.
But you're back to square one. You're after undoing all the hard work you've done, so it'd be better just to not do it in the first place.
Yeah. Oh no! This is exactly my point. My point is exact. It's like don't because from what I think is like people would kind of go. It's like, oh well, now I'm metabolically challenged. It's like, no, I'm in that box. And it's James, don't worry about it. It's like if you have chronically died before, don't worry about it, because realistically, find yourself a healthy balance. It's like it's very hard to overeat the right amount of food. It's very, very hard, especially coming from a place of bad habits. Like, I have not met a person who's come in to me. It's like, do you know what it is? I just can't stop eating broccoli and carrots and gaining weight. It's like, that hasn't happened. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's like, eat chicken, eat broccoli. Sauce is probably, for the time being, in it probably isn't your problem. It's like if you can develop a healthy mind.
People stress that the cooking oil. It's like the cooking oil is not.
Yeah. And I just saying.
Maybe if you're like a high performance athlete and you're measuring everything by the calorie, like
because then we're looking for these kind of 1%.
Yeah.
And I think you're just right in the terms of it is possible to slow your metabolism back down, but like I said, we're the thing that changed. It's also possible to speed that thing back up again. And like I said,
it is a process to bring it back up.
But what your body, but I don't even think so. If you give your body from 1200 to 1900, it's like it's gonna hit that. It's gonna go, okay, we'll go right back up to my natural BMR based on
define right back up.
Right, okay, over the course of weeks and months. Maybe
that's what I mean. And what we're worried about is the weight gain that occurs in the meantime, which means that the whole process was a waste of time.
My thing is it wasn't a waste of time. It's like what was a waste of time was destroying your metabolism in the first place.
Yeah,
it's like when you start even, like I said, go onto a natural diet. It's like you still don't have to be as restrictive. It's like you might gain a little bit of weight. It's like, but it's like in the long term to fix your metabolism is like. Number one is fix your metabolism, and in order to gain a little weight to fix your metabolism, is that not worth it?
I would say it's like the better approach is just to do it without breaking your metabolism.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. I completely agree. If I made it seem like that wasn't my thing, it's like, but it's like I don't even think it's like, oh well, I was on a 1200 calorie diet, I can never do that again. I have to go back to 1200 in order to build it up. It's like, oh no, just stick on.
But it's if you don't want to gain weight, you have to stop where you're at. It's like your metabolism is where it is. You get what I'm saying? It's like because I see this all the time. It's like right. It's like in theory, and this is why my fitness pal is so important. It's like the process of trial and error is so important, because it's like in theory, it's like I put put you, because we don't have a metabolic chamber, I don't know where your metabolism is really. I can make some assumptions based on the equations, your height, your weight, blah blah blah. If I put you on, and we have clients like this, because maybe they've yo-yo diet in the past and they've done kind of accumulated kind of that metabolic damage over time. So in theory, you should be able to lose weight. You should be able to lose a pound or two a week at say 1,500-1,600 calories. You're not losing weight. You get what I'm saying? So it's like we have to cut the calories to find out where you're actually at. You get what I'm saying? So we can move. Obviously, there's again so many factors. Like how much are you moving? Is that the main factors? Because you only get 2-3 steps a day because you're sitting at a computer all day. Like there's so many variables.
I think that's kind of where we kind of got at a disagreement there. It is a case. It's like there's so many more factors. Like for you to put yourself, you think your metabolism is broken. Like I doubt it. Yeah, it could be because you're sedentary, you're sitting down all day. Yeah, only because if the body is the kind of thing that can slow right down, it's like there's no reason to say that the thermostat would, like I said, if you're at 70, it's like, and you pull back to 50, because that's so true. It's like the metabolism is the best way to describe it is as a thermostat. Yeah, and it is adaptable, it is adjustable. Yeah, but it's like if you bring it right down. You have to slowly. But I think it's like everyone at a base will have a factory reset based on their muscle, their height, and their weight, and their age. It's like I generally think it's like if you're 1,700 calories, like your body is like it will always have that like a way deeper groove there than anywhere else because like that's where it really wants to be. But again, one of the arguments is also on kind of metabolic adaptation and stuff is like cardio. It's like the reason a lot of people, especially kind of these gym heads or these weightlifters, hate cardio is because over time, every time you run, you become more and more efficient at using fat for fuel. This is the problem. The problem isn't that your body's broken. The problem is that your body is just super efficient. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, first day you run 5k, you burn 100 grams of fat, say, just for a complete estimate. Second time you run 5k, 99. Third time, and over time your body just gets more and more efficient. Whereas if you're lifting weights and stuff, it's a different ball game because because we're actually increasing metabolic rate because we're adding muscle and we're making ourselves. There's lots of trainers that say you don't have to do any cardio. You don't have to do any at all. Yeah, but what we would encourage is you don't have to necessarily do cardio, but it's fun, dude. But yeah, I like running. It's great headspace, but it's like get a Fitbit. It's like what's your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's not even that. It's like well, if you do that, it's like how's your cardiovascular system? It's like radius if you're looking for optimal health. How's your heart health? Yeah, it's like your muscular endurance is fantastic, your max strength is brilliant, your nervous system very, very strong. You can't run from there. But how's your cardiovascular system? It's like, okay, I'm sure it's better than the average couch potato, but like you should be, I think anyway, like obviously goal dependent. It's all personal. If you're trying to be a strong man, it's like maybe you should. And that's why I don't. That's again my dislike of these programs come from because there's no individualization. Yeah. There's no, and that's why we opened the personal training studio, not a high volume gym. That needs hundreds and hundreds of members to keep it open. You get what I'm saying? That's why we've a smaller program because it's like you see these people it's like you're 6'2". I'm 5'7". You're 120 kilos. I'm 75 kilos. And we're both given the same macros. It's like we've got completely different needs. You get what I'm saying? And it does the bigger guy even more damage than does the smaller guys. Here's the point that I think we should get across. Short term, I think these things are fine. You know what I mean? I think it's demonstrated. I think it's demonstrated on an individual basis by the severity of the rebound. Yeah, but it's like how quickly are you gaining that weight back? This is my point exactly. It's like if you're doing it using that as a tool, I think it's fine. If you build habits there, I think that's dangerous. Because it's like if that is your, and not only that, as I said, it's like it hacks the already had habits. Yeah. It's like if you're looking for the quick fix to fix yourself long term. It's not really a good idea, but if you're looking for a summer body, it's a brilliant program. You know what I mean? And a low it's good to put your body under some significant amount of stress for a while. Low calorie diets have been proven again and again to be very beneficial in terms of health because of chronic overeating. But it's like if this is your long term strategy to yo-yo in and out, it's like well then with the down comes the up, and with the down comes the up. It's like, and realistically, most people for where they're at don't want the up. Most people that we meet anyway. Because it's about getting the person from A to B as quickly as possible, not about creating and instilling good quality habits and educating them. The only problem I have with I have no problem. And that's what I said at the start. I was like, it's like who's doing the program? It's not athletes. It's not. It's a housewife. Yeah, it's a 40-year-old father who works 40-50 hours a week. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? It's not. These aren't who these programs are pushed on. You know what I mean? It's like it's athletes. Listen.
when I train, I'm trained like an athlete. If I was kind of say boxing, you know, it's like I'll train twice a day. You know, I'll be really quite tight on my calories and stuff like that. You know, and that's fine because you know my life is centered.
Well, yeah, what I would say to you is good luck being an athlete without discipline. And the thing for you is like, you know, in the back of your mind you've got the discipline to jump into this diet and then also jump out. You know, you've got a mindset that's focused around that. And it's like, and if you don't have that, it's like that can be quite damaging to you. For if you generally have no other outside knowledge and you think that this is the solution, I think it's like you're going to build some very detrimental habits to your health, and the one being is like the quick fix.
Yeah, and the key for me is like the alarm bell is like how much weight are you losing every week? Yeah. You know, are you losing 4, 5, 6, 7? I've seen one photo. It's like average weight loss this week was 10 pounds. It's like average. You know, so average. You know, and it's like, so that means that some people lost more than 10 pounds in 1 week. It's like, you know, roughly speaking, and a pound of fat is about 3,500 calories.
Is that average? Is that averaging with people who've went up? Because if that's the case, it's going to be quite drastic.
Yeah, but this is it. It's like glorifying rapid weight loss. It's like and then that becomes the goal. It's like then
and then if you don't have rapid weight loss,
you're a failure.
But I think that's good if you want to go Ibiza.
Well, but is it not much better to train for 6 months than to train for 6 weeks?
Oh, it is, but like you want that 2 week cut.
Yeah, this I'm saying, yeah, and something maybe over a week or 2 weeks or something that you can listen, because there is to some extent you get away, but like I feel like the body is much more adaptable than maybe than you realise it is. Yeah. You know, and it's like
for example, I see this guy and I love him. I really recommend everyone follows him on Instagram just because it's really cool. Primal Soldier. This guy puts up videos damn near every day. He is in shape, ripped to bits. Every day, there's a way to do it. You know, there is sustainable ways to do it, like without a doubt.
And the key is it's the mindset shift of training for performance, training to fuel your body, not training and eating in a way that just basically just brings that number down on the scale.
Yeah, I think you're just right, but it's like it's very hard to kind of because they're counterintuitive. You know what I mean? It's like, oh well, how am I supposed to put more in and still take away? You know what I mean? It's like this. It doesn't make sense, but it's like you put more in of the right stuff and you find the right energy balance for you.
Yeah, very interesting. So guys, thank you very much for a great conversation. I hope that our listeners had some good insight there. We had a nice little debate at the end. So guys, if you just have any questions that you'd like us to answer, feel free to get in touch on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. 1 week free trial on fightingfitnation.com. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.